That kiss with Asa was the one time I didn't get hurt. Chainsaw Man is a story of chaos, carnage, and contracts, but at its heart, it's also about connections. Denji, our chainsaw-wielding protagonist, has always craved something simple. A normal life, love, and someone who truly understands him. Enter Asa Mitaka, a character whose introduction in the manga's second part has sparked debates, many memes, and countless theories. Today, I want to explore why Asa Mitaka isn't just a compelling character, but why she might just be the perfect partner for Denji. My name is Luke, and this is my channel where I share my lukewarm takes on anime, manga, and more, and my lukewarm take of the day is that Asa Mitaka is Chainsaw Man's perfect match. And this goes without saying, since I'll be discussing a character who is nowhere close to being introduced in the anime, this entire video will contain spoilers for the entirety of the Chainsaw Man manga. To understand why Asa complements Denji so well, we first need to revisit what makes Denji tick. From the very beginning, Denji's desires have been heartbreakingly simple. Food on the table, a roof over his head, and someone to share his life with. His tragic backstory, filled with poverty and betrayal, left him starved for a genuine connection. But as Chainsaw Man's story progresses, Denji's encounters with characters like Makima, Power, and Aki show us that what he truly needs is someone who sees him for who he is, beyond Chainsaw Man. As Denji states in his encounter with Reze, he's looking for someone who is after Denji's heart as opposed to his chainsaw heart. Denji's journey has been about peeling back the layers of what he thinks he wants to reveal what he truly needs. Denji spent the entirety of part 1 being in love with the world's greatest manipulator. Makima gave him everything that he desired, a home, a family, someone to love, and quickly ripped it away piece by piece just to steal Pochita away from him. She also took from him any chance that he could have possibly had to find happiness. Whenever Denji was close to escaping her clutches and achieving self-actualization, like when Reze was accepting his offer to run away together, she made quick work to eliminate that threat. Denji's personal desires have been co-opted by Makima for so long that even he has trouble figuring out what he wants going into part 2 of the manga. Once Makima was eliminated, Denji still doesn't know how to achieve fulfilling happiness, but now he's free to figure that out on his own. And this is when we meet Asa Mitaka, introduced as an awkward, socially isolated high schooler who's suddenly thrust into the chaotic world of devils. Unlike Denji, Asa's life hasn't been defined by a desperate scramble for survival. Instead, she's weighed down by guilt, insecurity, and a deep fear of rejection. What makes Asa such an intriguing character is her relatability. She's flawed, anxious, and constantly second guesses herself, but she's also determined to find her place in a world that seems intent on rejecting her. Right when it seemed like she was finally accepted by the other students, she accidentally trips and crushes their class pet. When it seems like the class president wanted to be friends with her, it was all just a ploy to end her life. When her life was saved and she ends up with cool new powers, it comes with the drawback of the war devil literally living rent-free in her head and taking over her body whenever it wants. Asa and Denji's personalities seem like polar opposites at first glance, but this is exactly why they complement each other so well. Asa is hyper aware of other people's perceptions of her and often acts based on what she thinks will make her look the best. We see this in her incredibly long, insecure ramblings to herself or the demon inside her head that take up nearly an entire panel. While Asa has very low self-esteem, Denji seemingly has no self-esteem, being capable of doing and saying anything he wants regardless of how it'll make him look as long as it achieves what he wants to achieve. This man will make himself into a human chair as long as he gets paid. He has literally no shame, and honestly, I respect that. When Denji and Asa first meet, their dynamic is awkward, clumsy, and, well, very real. Asa's sharp tongue and tendency to overthink clashes with Denji's blunt honesty and impulsiveness. But as their interactions unfold, we start to see the magic of their relationship. Denji, who has always been used as a tool, whether by the Yakuza, Makima, or even society as a whole, finds someone in Asa who doesn't care about Chainsaw Man. Asa, on the other hand, finds someone in Denji who doesn't judge her for her mistakes or for her awkward and clumsy personality. Their mutual awkwardness and vulnerability create a bond that feels raw and genuine. The biggest development we get between the two of them happened during the aquarium arc. The return of the Eternity Devil created the perfect forced proximity to give us insight into their amazing dynamic. In the aquarium, we see how Denji's straightforwardness can cut through Asa's self-doubt, while Asa's introspection forces Denji to think deeper about his own desires and actions. Her personality also reminds Denji very briefly of Power, who we know that he deeply loved and cared for. Asa put in great effort to seduce Denji, but even her best rant about sea creatures wasn't able to sway his heart, to Asa's annoyance. It wasn't until they got trapped in the aquarium and Asa started crashing out that Denji began to take a liking to her. He liked Asa, the person underneath the facade she puts up for others. Just like how Denji wished someone would want him for him, not his chainsaw heart, we see that Asa really appreciated that someone liked her for her, flaws and all. When you spend as much time as Asa trying to put up a front of being somebody that you're not, it can be emotionally exhausting and quite draining, and Asa has been doing this for most of her life. So when Denji liked Asa for the mess that she truly was, it sparked genuine feelings in her for this raggedy delinquent with no filter. They both challenge each other to grow in ways no other character in the series has. Even though the date to the aquarium started off as a plot to turn Denji into a weapon, it ended up being a genuine, albeit chaotic date that the both of them enjoyed. And also Denji got to hold a penguin, so everyone wins. Their mutual affection for each other is further complicated by Asa's eventual infatuation for Chainsaw Man, who saved her life on multiple occasions. After their failed second date at Denji's apartment thanks to the intervention of Nayuta and Yoru, Asa is flustered thinking that Denji doesn't like her back when the exact opposite is true. She quickly develops feelings for Chainsaw Man after he saves her from the Falling Devil, and it becomes sort of a Clark Kent Superman and Lois Lane dynamic where Asa has feelings for both Denji and his chainsaw-headed alter ego. I just love the little love poem she crafted out of nowhere to express her feelings about Chainsaw Man. It's super sappy and awkward and comes completely out of nowhere, making it very on brand for Asa Mitaka. All of these complicated emotions for two different people come to a head when she finds out that the two people she's fallen for are one in the same. Of course, we can't talk about Asa and Denji without discussing Asa's unwanted roommate, Yoru, the War Devil. The relationship dynamic between Denji, Asa, Yoru, and Pochita turns what was a normal romance into a twisted love-hate triangle. Asa loves Denji, Denji loves Asa, Yoru hates Pochita but seemingly wants Denji physically, while Pochita just wants what's best for Denji. You know, come to think of it, it's more like a love-hate rhombus, actually, now that I think about it. Yoru drives the majority of the conflict between our lovely but awkward couple throughout the story. Her taking over Asa's body at the most inopportune times creates some of the most tense and heavy moments in what's otherwise a pretty great shoujo romance between two tragic people who were just seeking love from one another. Yoru in Asa's body has attempted to end Denji's life multiple times, as well as forced herself onto him at least 3 times across part 2. Asa herself has never physically gotten intimate with Denji consensually. It was always Yoru piloting her body. It was almost as if Asa represented the emotional connection that he has been desperately seeking for, and Yoru represented the physical, intimate lust that's been holding him back for the entire story. It was painful seeing Denji say that the reason he likes Asa is because their kiss was the one time he didn't get hurt. Much like his line about power, it makes you retroactively think about Himeno, whose kiss came with more bile than expected, and Reze, whose kiss ended up with more tongue than expected. Even though it was Yoru who kissed him, Denji's feelings were still towards Asa, and it's heartbreaking as a reader to see these feelings reciprocated but messed up by the world's deadliest tsundere. Aside from Makima, I guess. This brings up the question, was Yoru acting like this based on Asa's deep-seated need for affection and attraction to Denji, or is this from Yoru's own desire to be loved? Yoru certainly denies having any romantic feelings and is just acting based on Asa's teenage urges, but we all know that Chainsaw Man is a story where dialogue isn't always the most straightforward. We also know that devils are capable of feeling love, with power-loving Aki and Denji, and Makima, Yoru's sister, feeling love for Pochita. We don't see any of Yoru's mannerisms and desires appear in Asa when she's in control. Meanwhile, whenever Yoru does something intimate with Denji, she blames it on Asa's influence. Even after finding out that Denji was the Chainsaw Man she's been trying to destroy all this time, she still lets her emotions take over and force herself onto him because it quote-unquote felt good. The signs all point to it being more of Yoru's personal desires, and she's just coping by blaming Asa because the Great War Devil isn't as in control of herself as she liked others to believe. Chainsaw Man thrives on its themes of identity, self-actualization, and human connection, and Asa and Denji's relationship embodies all of these. Both characters are grappling with dual identities, with Denji being Chainsaw Man and Asa being the host of the War Devil. This struggle for control that Asa has with Yoru facilitates her characterization and growth, and further solidifies that she is fighting for Denji, the first person in her life to show her unconditional acceptance for how clumsy, standoffish, and awkward she is. But of course, Asa's attempts at reconnecting with Denji after finding out that he is Chainsaw Man are immediately made complicated by Yoru's flip-flopping behavior. One moment she's kicking him in his Denjis, and the next she's taking him to third base in an alleyway. That kind of stuff is confusing for a young man who's just gotten out of multiple toxic relationships. So why is Asa Mitaka the perfect partner for Denji? Well, the short answer is that she's not perfect. Because if there's anything you can take away from Chainsaw Man, is that perfection and absolute happiness isn't real. Asa isn't perfect, and neither is Denji. Both of them are ridiculously immature and have a long way to go to understand love. However, together, they're two broken people who can help each other heal, even if it's messy and awkward along the way. Their relationship isn't about grand romantic gestures or idealized love. It's about finding someone who sees you, flaws and all, and chooses to stick around anyway. In a story as wild and as unpredictable as Chainsaw Man, that kind of connection feels nothing short of revolutionary. But what do you think? Is Asa Mitaka the perfect partner for Denji, or is there someone who may be a better match? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more lukewarm takes.